Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of Why You Worried About It, a journey towards a better you. I'm Lindsay Bush, HR Director for Crossroads Counseling.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susie Arbo, a licensed professional counselor, and we are here to grow as people and humans. And we want you guys on this journey with us to a better you.
That's right. Saddle up.
Yeah, get ready. We've had a lot of different topics now, Lindsay, as far as kind of what we've covered over the last couple of weeks. And we've had a lot of fun with it as far as, the time management piece. We've had some feedback on that has been very helpful to some of our team members and some of the clients that we serve and some friends and whatnot. And we're always interested to know what people want to learn more about and what areas they want to grow about, in life.
Yeah, we definitely love to hear from anybody. And we did get a shout out this week of somebody that was they listened to our time management and they were working on adding a few of those tips into their life and how excited they were. It made me super excited. And just kind of adding these little tips and tricks into your life can really put you on a course to a better path, a more happy, healthier path. So it's super exciting. We love the feedback. So definitely, if anybody has any thoughts, shoot them our way. We appreciate it.
For sure, for sure. And today we decided to talk about relationships.
Dun, dun,
And
dun.
yeah,
So easy,
the
right? Relationships are so easy.
I always just joke that they bring us the most joy, and we can be so, when we are in love or we have a friendship or that kind of thing, that it feels so good. But then there's also moments that just are hard too and can hurt and stuff. And so we thought that we would kind of just hit a little bit about that. And I think what inspired it was our annual girls trip to Herman, Missouri, if you've ever heard of it.
If you've never been, put it on the bucket list. It's a lot of fun for so many different reasons. But the biggest takeaway, we always do highs and lows because we love it. And I think most all of the people that went loved the fellowship, loved being together. This group of women, and most of us don't even see or talk to each other every day. Like people that you kind of see in passing or on Facebook and keep up with them, but then you're able to spend a couple days together and really dive deep into just life and enjoy being together, and you walk away feeling so refreshed. I don't know. It's just something different whenever you get to spend quality, positive time with people.
hmm Yeah, and I think you just brought up a good point about time and about making time for this type of opportunity. And we
Oh
get
yeah.
so busy, like with everything. You can always fill your calendar with every appointment, every, whatever you've got on your planner, you can fill it with so many things. And if you don't make time for things that truly matter to you or you value, you're not going to do it because there's always something to clean or organize, or there's another activity, or there's that other TV show to watch, or the social media to scroll. And so being intentional with that is really important.
Yeah, and it has to. You have to, every relationship you have to put work into. No marriages stay in the honeymoon stage, right? Like you have to put the time into it. Like things get monotonous, and that's the same with any relationships. It's really easy to say, "Oh, we're not going to be able to make it this time." We really wish we could. We probably could. You just chose it. I love we did a Bible study one time, and I'll never forget. It said when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, and then vice versa. When you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And you have to really do a priority check. Where do you need to be spending that time and things like that. And then you can also dive too deep into that, I think, too. Like you can think, oh well, all my time needs to be spent with my kids. I only get so much time with my kids. Absolutely, you need to spend good quality time with your kids, but to be a better human and a better adult, a better functioning person, you need time for yourself and for friends and things like that too. So finding that balance that's for you is really important.
Yep, exactly. And I think it's kind of cool. I think you started planning like the little, we're just using this as example, but that girls trip, what, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And sometimes the people change, due to their life, what's going on. And we always have the mindset of the more the merrier, like anybody's welcome to come and whether we're doing our Bible study or whether we are, doing things with friends, we like to be inclusive and try to get people involved, and I think that that's really important, just as far as being a good friend to people and whatnot.
Yeah. And I know you've always been the one that says, even if you don't think they're going to come, people still want to be included. They still want to be invited. They still want, to feel like they might be missed even though they can't make it or something. So it is important. I know I'm terrible because I want to invite everybody. I'm a people person. I love people. Um, so I'm like, absolutely, if there's room, let's go. And I know a lot of people will be like, why would you put your birthday invite on Facebook to the whole world? And I'm like, because if somebody cares enough to come, like I love that. But I mean, sometimes it's just something people need to feel included. And I know I've been left out before and it feels terrible, and it's probably an oversight or something that, you're not top of mind, and we make it bigger to ourselves than, it probably is, but I don't ever want to be the cause of that. So I definitely think you never know who you're going to connect with and have a moment with that you might not have ever expected.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. It's interesting too that you said you talked about being left out of things, and I think every human, every person listening to this can relate to that. That there's been times in your life where you look back, just some of those times that really hurt, and you just question like, why, did I do something to offend them?
Mhm.
And really, it might not have anything to do with you.
Yep.
It might be that maybe your friendship is in a different season, and I've had people that I love very dearly that at one point I've been super close to. And then just because of time and life and different, things that we do, we kind of drift apart. I still love that person, but I'm just not, right there in that active
Mhm.
season. And then I think we all have friends that maybe you don't get to see all the time. I've got a lot of northern friends in Minnesota and South Dakota. I don't get to see them all the time, but I love them so much. And I know every single time we are together, we are intentional and we pick up right where we left off. And it
Mhm.
is like we've never left. I know you've got friends like that too.
Oh yeah, it's important. And I mean, those kind of friendships are true, and they're the meaningful ones for sure. But I think every relationship, and take it for what it is, and don't overthink it. Don't think I know I go through times in my life where I've had best friends and I'm like, oh, I'm terrible. I never reached out. I haven't talked to them. I've never met their kid, like things like that. And I feel terrible. But the road is always two ways, and they can reach out as well. Now, if you're one that's just dodging everybody because you want to stay inside with your cats all night, I mean, that's one thing. We need to get you out a little bit. But I mean, if just realize, give yourself a break and give yourself grace. And little things that you've taught me along the way is when you have those moments of you're thinking of people, yeah, maybe you can't meet up with them every month or even every year. Shoot them a message. How are you? I've been thinking about you. You've been heavy on my mind lately. That means a lot too. Like you don't have to make a big to do of it all the time to stay connected with people. And one thing I love about Facebook, even though it's dangerous and scary for a lot of reasons, is you can keep track and keep up with those friendships that maybe you don't get to nurture quite as much as you'd like to, but that I think helps people pick up right where they left off. And I mean, I encourage you, if somebody's heavy on your brain, there's maybe a reason for it. Shoot them a text. Say, hey, I'm just thinking of you lately. How are you? How are things? And you never know. I mean, it might just be what they need to hear in that moment. So
And I don't know about you, but I've never got a message where somebody's like, "Hey, Sue's thinking about you," that I've been like, "Oh man, that's so annoying." Like I've always
never.
been like, "Oh, that's so sweet. I'm so glad," because I was like,
Exactly.
literally the other day I had somebody reach out and she's like, "I don't know why, but you're on my heart and your mind." And I'm like, "That is so crazy," because I was literally just thinking about you. And so sometimes you just never know. People might need that little pick me up or that
Mhm.
little caring thing. We always kind of like to have some kind of call to action on the show as far as like what can we all do. So I'd love for everybody right now just to kind of think about what is one way that maybe you can grow a relationship or maybe like a little mini goal that you could set for yourself to make your relationships better. I know one thing that keeps going through my mind right now is like I want to pick somebody new every day, and I want to send them a message, a text message, and just say, "Hey, I love you. I'm thinking about you. Hope all is well." Something like that. That's going to be
I love
my
that.
little mini goal for myself.
I love that. I think my mini goal is going to be I'm terrible about my phone is my lifeline right now. Like I use it for work, I use it for everything, my kids, all the things. I want to be very intentional when I'm with people. So I sometimes I do really, really good at that and I'll put my phone away and then I'm like, oh, I've been at MIA for hours. But maybe in like a dinner setting or when I'm with somebody or in the car with a friend that I haven't seen in a while, put the phone away and be intentional about in the moment when I'm with them and really listen to them. And I'm going to challenge myself to do that because I know I'm bad about always having that phone in my hand.
Yep, I love that. I love that. The average human spends 8 to 10 hours in front of their screens a day. which, a lot of us, we need it right now. We're on a podcast, on a Zoom call, we're on screens, but I love every part of it. And so some of it's beneficial and it's productive and it's working and, whatnot. And sometimes you using a phone to connect with people, like that's good. But also when we are face to face, having
Hmm.
that time, like just like you said, and looking at people in the eyes and being intentional is so huge. So it's easy just to hop on and start scrolling through things and let
Yeah.
that mind go. So yeah, it's a
Yep.
good reminder for sure. One thing that we haven't really talked about yet, because today we're kind of talking about relationships, mostly friendships, I'd say, but sometimes there's people, and I don't want to use the word toxic. I've never liked the word toxic. It just sounds bad, doesn't it?
It's because you are a counselor, Susie, and you're so sensitive to people. There are toxic people out there. There are negative people.
And there are. Yep, I know. And so I think if you have people in your life that maybe you have tried continuously to love them and be there for them, but they continue to hurt you or, they're negative, they're draining, then they could even be family, you know what I mean, or people you work with. And, what kinds of tips of advice would you give, Lindsay, for people that would be in those shoes?
It's a tough one. It really is because some of those people you can't. I mean, if you choose to stop showing up to family things, is that, sometimes you might have to do that if it's really for your true mental health, looking at the situation. But one thing I like to do, and I tease about always, I mean, obviously there's just kind of toxic, negative energy out there all the time. But something I've challenged myself, I said something not very nice and I caught myself saying it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to say three nice things about this person, and or I'm going to think of three positive things that that I can try to do to replace those thoughts. Like, because if you look for something and you continually go on that cycle of negativity, that's what you're going to find. So challenging myself to be better about really looking at the positive. Somebody might be annoying or somebody that's not your cup of tea, and that's totally fine, but there's something good about everyone in every situation. Maybe too, maybe you don't love the person, but maybe they're teaching you. I know you've shared, Susie, that you've learned from your bosses in the past. This is how they've been terrible, and I will never be that way. So we can learn from every relationship, every scenario we're in. So it's just spinning your own thoughts.
Absolutely. It's all about that mindset. And I like this little saying that I think could be helpful too when we have somebody in our life that maybe you have to like work with, or maybe they're in your family or whatnot. You can kind of keep them, what I like to call it, arm's length. You know what I mean? Like kind of set that personal boundary for yourself that, hey, you know what? I'm going to appreciate because this person does have strengths because every human has some kind of strengths, and so kind of trying to figure out that. But then just also kind of keep them at arm's length, kind of keep them out of your bubble. And, maybe you don't share real personal things about yourself with them. Maybe they've proven to you that they haven't been safe in the past to be trusted with that information. And I also like to say let things go in one ear and out the other and not let it get to our mind, our own thoughts. That's their opinion of us or our hurt. And so just in one ear and out the other and have thick skin and just know, okay, this person is just, this is how they are. That's them. That's not how I choose to be. And we've been talking a lot in our company, especially just about taking the high road and always
Mm-hmm.
kind of being the bigger person. And even when people are, not so good to you, you're always going to feel better being on the high road. And there's less traffic up there than the middle road or the low road. And so, it's
Mm-hmm.
famous John Maxwell quote right there. So
It's hard too. It's hard to try to step back and remember that you're not responsible for everybody else's relationships either. You can't repair. Other people have to be responsible for how they make each other feel or how they've interpreted things. Like, you can always be a somebody to help and listen to, but that's something I'm working on, is especially with my children. I unfortunately can't control all the relationships. I can't help them, if they have a somebody at school that's kind of giving them a hard time or things like that. I can help them in a sense of listen and kind of give them some skills and ways to maybe appropriately react. But really, their friendships are going to be their friendships, and you try to instill those good things. But I try to lead by example too. I try to do those things, and I think it's important for not just those young ones that are watching us all the time, but your friends feed off your energy too. Your coworkers, your peers, anybody you're around, you're encouraging them, and they're seeing how you work, or how you move and relate with others. So it's important just be a good human when we
abs
can.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think, kind of wrapping it up and reflecting on like what we've talked about today, we've talked about, connecting to other people and making time for people and being intentional when you're with them. We kind of talked about what to do with, or a little call to action, I should say, with, reaching out to people, texting them, that's what I'm going to do. And you said your little thing, which is,
Tone down and be in a moment with people. I'm going to give full attention and not partial.
I love it. I love it. And hopefully you listening, thank you for listening, first of all. And second of all, hopefully you have a little mini goal too that you can start working on to be, the best that you can in your relationships. Because at the end of the day, there's a Harvard study done on human happiness. And at the end of it, over 80 years, they found out that the thing that made us the happiest was the people that are closest to
Yep.
us in our life, and not money, not fame, not success, not any of that material things. Nope. It was always your relationships. And so taking the time to invest in yourself, and just by listening to this podcast today, good job. That is a step in the right direction. And that's why we do it, is because we're growing and we want to grow with you.
That's right. Thank you so much for listening to us. Again, we are with Country Crossroads Counseling. Follow us on Facebook, check out our website, but we constantly are doing things that we're trying to reach the community, fun events. We've got lots coming up, so definitely check us out. And again, if you ever want to reach out to either myself or Susie, we would love to hear from you on potential topics, or if there's somebody you'd love to see on the show with us just to chat, please let us know.
Thanks for listening.